Well, British author Louis de Berni is in Australia to open the Melbourne Writers' Festival with his new book, The Dust That Falls from Dreams, and he joins us now. Lovely to have you with us.
It's lovely to be here, thank you.
And how did last night go? It's a bit of cruel punishment having you on the couch this early in the morning, having opened the Melbourne Writers' Festival last night.
No, it was great fun. The town hall was absolutely packed, and I avoided drinking too much afterwards, so I'll be fresh for this morning. So everything's going well.
Tell us about the new book, The Dust That Falls from Dreams. It's an epic tale spanning a large slab of last century. What prompted you to write this book?
Oh, it's something that happened in my family. My grandmother lost her fiancé in 1915 and never really got over it. And it had a huge sort of impact on my family ever since it happened, because her marriage to my grandfather didn't work out very well, and so that's the germ of the novel. It's really somebody losing their fiancé at a very early age, before they've ever had a chance to sort of really know them intimately or get disillusioned.
And of course, the novel itself is set during World War I, but it's not about the war as such. It's about the characters that interact with each other in the novel.
Yes, there is quite a lot about the fighting out at the front and the war in the air, but it's mostly about what happens to those who are left behind to keep things going, how they cope with all of the men being gone, and the way that things changed so much during that time, such as, you know, all the middle-class women suddenly went out and got jobs.
And it's the first of a trilogy, I believe, as well?
Well, I'm hoping it will end up as a trilogy that finishes in about, well, my father always says, if I'm spared. If I'm spared, it will be a trilogy, yes, and I think it'll end at about 1980. But the intention is that you can read all the books separately, so you don't have to commit yourself to reading all three.
Another book with war, if not as its central theme, but certainly as a theme. Of course, Captain Corelli's Mandolin was very much centred on the war. As an author, do you see war as providing a great canvas, great source of inspiration for writing novels?
Well, a lot of the, you know, war does generate the most terrific narratives, and if you're a storyteller, it's irresistible. But I'm also of that generation whose parents fought in the Second World War and grandparents fought in the First World War, so it's sort of built into my psyche, all of these stories.
And of course, we were mentioning before, two of your most successful books have been turned into films. Is anyone trying to get dibs on this one already?
Not yet. It's only been out a couple of months, so it's early days.
Captain Corelli's Mandolin was such a worldwide hit. Did you struggle with the success, the money, the fame, the acclamation, the book tours that came with it?
Well, luckily it all happened terribly slowly, so there was never a point where I was suddenly rich or suddenly famous, but even so it was hard to take, yeah.
Did it put you off writing? Was it hard to focus on your core skill, which is writing?
I think the problem is that people expect you to write the same thing again, but different, which is impossible. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. And so the next big novel took about 10 years to do, and that was partly just, as you imply, getting over the fame and money problem.
It's just not a bad problem to have, that.
Well, the money problem is easily overcome because you just spend it.
And did you?
Yes.
On good stuff, hopefully.
And just, Louis, getting back to one of your books that was turned into a film that was obviously very well received here in Australia was Red Dog.
Yeah.
Now, there's a prequel being made, and the tables are being turned, and you've been asked to write a book to go with the film, and so this is your opportunity to exact revenge, surely.
Well, the film of Red Dog was, to be frank, better than the book, I thought.
You think so?
Oh, yes, it was.
In what way?
It was so lively and humorous and so very Australian. You know, it's very fortunate they didn't ask me to write the script. You know, I would have got that totally wrong. But with the producer is making a prequel, which is entirely fiction, whereas my book was based on, at least loosely, on what happened. And when Nelson Wass suggested to me that I should write this novel to go with the film, my initial reaction was very hostile and exasperated. But then I read the script and I thought, oh my God, this is actually rather good. I think I could do this.
So how do you actually go through that process of converting a script into a narrative that would fit into a novel?
Well, I'd like your advice on that, because I've never done it, but I've never done it. This would be my first time trying to do that. But because the scriptwriter came up with such a good story, I don't think it'll be difficult.
Yeah.
What about the film translation of Captain Corelli's Mandolin? What were you happy about? What were you unhappy about with that?
I was very happy with the soundtrack. I thought it was quite fantastic. Stephen Warbeck came up with wonderful music. The scene where they massacred the Italian soldiers, it was done in the place where it happened and in the manner that it happened, and I thought that was heart-stopping. You know, the film was worth it for that. I wasn't keen on some of the ways that they tinkered with the story, but then no author ever is. But you know, from a personal point of view, the loveliest thing about it was meeting Penelope Cruz, because she's absolutely sweet.
Oh, is she?
She's absolutely sweet. She's a really natural woman who's just happy to sit with you in a cafe and talk rubbish.
She played a fantastic role in the film. What about Nicolas Cage?
He was going through horrendous child custody problems at the time and was shooting back and forth to the USA in order to put in enough time to retain credibility with the American courts.
Right.
So he was under a lot of stress. And he was spending most of his time just hiding, really. He was in a blanked-out caravan, and I only met him once.
A bit distracted, but probably explained his pretty dodgy attempt at an Italian accent as well, Louis.
Well, he is of an Italian family, oddly enough, but when I was thinking of who should do that part, I was thinking maybe some lively little Italian, and not a sort of tall, lugubrious American. But he's a great actor.
Oh, he's fantastic.
And he took the trouble to learn the mandolin as well.
Yeah, I noticed.
He really did.
Yeah, that'd make you happy as the author.
He was holding it wrong, but...
You'll forgive that.
It's all about the detail, Louis, isn't it?
Yeah.